Welcome to the High Pressure Podcast with me, George Rotterman.
And me, Marie Williams. Brought to you by Reliably Ratterman.
Bringing you industry news and trends.
Plus, insightful conversations with industry leaders.
Let's get to today's show.
All right, welcome to another episode of the High Pressure Podcast. It's another quick and short solution session where we talk about common questions we get from customers and bring on an expert. Today we have Craig Pagano, who is our National Sales Manager, as our expert. And if you've noticed, George Ratterman is not here to co-host with me. Instead, we have my sister, Mary Carter, here. Mary, welcome to the podcast.
Thanks so much, Marie, for letting me join.
Absolutely. And Craig, thank you for joining as our expert.
Well, thank you for having me again. Appreciate it.
Absolutely. Today we are talking about something that George would think is very exciting because he thinks every one of our products are very exciting. And maybe I will too by the end of this. But we are talking about leaks in hoses, which can cause an array of issues from safety to product loss. So we're going to jump into it right now. Craig, what would you say is a big concern when it comes to hoses leaking in fill plants or, out in the field?
Sure. So, whenever there's a leak, right? So, that's just wasted product and wasted dollars, especially, you're trying to, make sure that you're maximizing your profit and time. And then the safety things. A lot of times, a lot of people, now with the cost of helium's expensive. So anytime that you have, helium's a very small molecule, it can leak. With our leak check, you're able to capture those leaks and then stop those from lost profits on that. Okay. And helium is an inert gas. Okay. Now you get into things like hydrogen gas, a very small molecule as well. And hydrogen can be a very dangerous thing, right? So a leak is a leak, as we say. And you want to make sure we're stopping those leaks from anything happening, and especially with a flammable gas on that end as well, because now something like a simple static electricity or something, you got a leak can cause explosion and so forth. So,
oh boy. And is that also, I've seen like videos, like horror videos where a hose is just like whipping around and around and around. Is that from like potentially a leak or?
That, in one sense, that could happen. What you're talking about, Marie, is when a hose blows out, right? When we have a ruptured hose, you'll get that. More or less, what can happen if, let's say, a fitting was not tied in, if you leak check that, you would see bubbling from that. Maybe someone just installed some new hoses, and maybe someone didn't drive the fitting in all the way. And if that were to come out, that could potentially cause a whip of a hose and a leak. But hopefully, if you were using leak check, especially using our Premier Leak Check, would capture that, right? That is one of the main things you're trying to prevent before anything happens.
Craig, I have a question for you.
Sure.
How is the best way to use leak check when you're trying to kind of check for hoses or maybe different seals?
Great question. So in the primary, we do, obviously we sell everything from a 55-gallon drum down to a 1 gallon and down to our little sniff detecting bottles that have a slight little hose that pulls out of it, Mary. And what you can do, especially in tight places under valves where you can't really see, you can take the little hose comes out of the little container that we have, and it's got a little little maybe 1/16 inch line to it, and you can squirt that anywhere that you have a threaded connection is a potential leak point on anything, right? So you really want to make sure that we're aiming that leak check on anything that's a threaded connection around a cylinder valve, right? That's screwed into the neck of a cylinder, even underneath the hand wheel of a valve, right? Your packing, your stems can get loose, they can get worn out, you can get bubbly. Even if it looks like beer foam, is a leak. 8 hours, 1 minute, 1 second, 8 hours a day, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, it's going to leak out, right? So you want to make sure you get any bubbling anywhere, you fix that leak before it goes out and you send a cylinder, or whether it be a high pressure cylinder, a liquid cylinder, or whatever it may be, even your own fill rack. A leak is a leak and it needs to be addressed.
Absolutely. And I heard a stat that was something like um one if a, the hose is leaking 1 cubic foot per hour, it's roughly $500 per year, something like that.
That probably could be about right. So you take something like, okay, let's get out of high pressure and let's go to liquid, right? So you got to remember the expansion rate, for instance, on liquid nitrogen is 700 to 1, right? So if I got a leak of liquid nitrogen, the expansion rate 700 to 1, so 1 gallon of nitrogen is going to expand 700 times the volume in gas. That's a lot of gas. You just see something, leak check's just not used for high pressure liquid cylinders or anything. It's also used, we have Ratterman sells low temperature leak detect that can be used in cryo and stuff. And again, a leak is a leak. And with the expansion rate on that, especially with nitrogen 700 to 1, oxygen is 846 to 1. So it means, it's going to expand 846 to 1 gallon of 1 liter, 1 gallon of nitrogen. And that's a lot of wasted gas and product. So it can add up over time.
Absolutely. And would you mind going over the different leak detection tools our customers can use?
Sure. So, as far as leak detection goes, so that everybody uses, right? We have everything from our Premier Leak Check, to we have Leak Check CG. Again, it's a fluid, it's all approved, it's 100% oxygen safe. Those are the main ones there. Then we have leak detection also, Marie, for using for monitoring oxygen deprivation, right? So, if unfortunately what happened a few years ago in Kentucky, there was an accident of liquid leaked all night or over the weekend. I can't remember. Come Monday morning, call it. Guy walks in, goes to turn the lights on, drops them right to the ground, and unfortunately, it kills the gentleman. And then his co-worker comes in, tries to get him out because everything was fogged over. Also, that individual was killed as well as an accident. But if you had a leak detection that was detecting nitrogen or oxygen deprivation, you would get an alert, right? It would sound an alarm. So great product to have, especially anybody that's using, liquid or anything. It would sound alarms. You would not walk into a room like that. So you're going to start seeing more and more from that. Unfortunately, these accidents happen. But coming out of it, good things can come out of it. I think regulation wise, you're going to start seeing more and more leak detection required. It's required for CO2. You're going to start seeing it for being more required probably for nitrogen and oxygen deprivation rates.
Yes. And we sell those monitors if anyone is interested. Um, and how about the routine, Craig, of looking through, you know, hoses or whatever the case may be? What's that leak detection routine that distributors should be using?
So, hoses, if you look at good manufacturing processes, should be changed every 5 years. But that's just to know the number of cycles on the hose. That doesn't include leak. Leaks are something that you're going to have a loss of profit, right? If something fitting wasn't tightened up, it wasn't Teflon taped in the proper way. So I believe that you should always spray something down and see if you have any leaks. Just things from simple everybody moving, number of cylinders that cycle through. You should spray things down with leak check to make sure that you don't have any leaks. You're not aspirating any air. Air can cause, if you got a leak, you could be aspirating air, pulling a vacuum. That can, get into your system, cause other problems. So most likely that, if you're leak checking on a regular basis, you're going to eliminate some of those things.
Oh, I thought it was really interesting, though, to hear about making sure to check under the hand wheel. That's an area that I hadn't really considered before, but you're completely right with packing. That would be really important. I think it's fantastic that we also have it for cryo applications. When you're talking about the leak detector regarding kind of like in the warehouse example, Was that one that was an electronic leak detector, or were you talking more about?
So that's electronic detection,
Oh.
right? So it would be monitored. You would have sensors in it. You would have lights. Let's say it was in a room. You would have lights in there. If the light started to flash, you would know that you're at deprivation rate. It would sound an alarm or flash visible lights to know that there's a you have an issue with oxygen deprivation, not to walk into something. Oxygen deprivation can happen very quickly if you're in a small confined room. Something if it's been leaking, especially the expansion rates we were just talking about. You displace the oxygen in the room. You walk in there, it'll drop you quicker than you know it just happened.
Oh, I'm sure.
Yeah, it's sad. And thank you, Craig. And then as far as like other, are there other applications that customers should be leak checking, not just, valves and hoses?
Valves, hoses, any liquid cylinder. Let's talk about CO2 for a minute, right? So in an instance on a liquid cylinder, CO2 liquid can, if you drop below 70 psi, Marie, you will, and you would say the tank's full. We're going on the premise it was just filled, right? And you have your pressure builder on it to maintain pressure. If I drop below 70 psi, I'm going to snow the can or dry ice the liquid cylinder. Then that can create other problems, right? Because if I'm leaking and I got a leak, let's say one of my fittings are cracked, my valve seat's not closing, that's and I drop below 70, I'm going to make a dry ice block in a liquid cylinder, which can be a very violent reaction inside it. I've seen it bend float rods, cause other problems. But then to untangle that web, you would have to go in, resublimate the liquid to get it to come back to liquid. Then you would have to use a false CO2 head to expel the liquid out of the liquid cylinder in order to service that liquid cylinder. So now you got a lot of lost product, a lot of lost time. Depending on how full the liquid cylinder was, it can take a while for it to resublimate back into CO2.
Yeah, wonderful, Craig. Well, I appreciate all your help and knowledge today. And if any customers are listening that are interested in one, you don't understand really how to do leak detection, we're here to help you. But if you're interested in what Craig mentioned, our liquid cylinder repair training, or any of the top end parts that go with it, or any of the leak detection, we're here to provide those solutions for you. Mary, thank you for co-hosting with me today.
Thank you. I really appreciate it. It was a great experience.
And thank you, Craig, for all the knowledge as always.
Well, thank you for having me on. It's always fun. So, and thank you, Mary, for co-hosting there. So, appreciate it.
Great to meet with both of you. Great company.
Thanks for watching. Stay up to date with the latest news in the gas and welding industry by clicking on the subscribe button.
And check out one of our other videos to learn more. Find out more about Reliably Ratterman at rmiordered.com.